And welcome to the Double Stuff Podcast, where we're double the hosts, double the topics, and double the fun. I'm Charity.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Sarah.
And since we are in the summer season, we have to talk about weddings.
Da, 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 da.
So this is going to be an interesting topic, considering that 2 out of the 3 of us that are talking right now are not married. So Alan, you're going to have to put some heavy input into this. But
we're talking about marriage or weddings?
Weddings.
Because those are different.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, weddings is the aftermath. Or sorry, marriage is the aftermath of the wedding.
A wise man once said.
A wise man once said it backwards.
So I want to start off talking about weddings because as much as I claim to not be super girly, I actually kind of get into those wedding shows and like the wedding dress shows and the reveal and all that stuff. Don't ask me why. I don't understand either. But what I'm always amazed at is the price of stuff and how much money goes into that stuff and how much money a person is willing to spend on even just one item.
Oh, yeah.
So I was looking at
sacrifices.
Yeah, I was looking at some stats. Oh, before we get to the stats, so one of the shows that I watched, I will not name the name, a woman was going to sell one of her kidneys
to I've seen
pay. That. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know if your wife had seen it. But
Who's going to pay it?
She sold one of her kidneys.
She did or she was going to?
No, she did to pay for the dress because it was so expensive.
It's
like,
not,
this dress
I'm all for it costing an arm and a leg. When it starts getting interior,
well,
that's a bit
dang,
much.
what if something happens and you need a kidney? You're like, man, that wedding dress, apparently it was worth it.
You better not get divorced. You can't afford to lose your other kidney for another wedding you're going to do.
Well, that's some messed up priorities because, I mean, if all you're looking forward to is a wedding and that's why you want to get married is because of the wedding, that's probably a big red flag.
I think that's the issue with a lot. I think they put so much effort into the wedding and not into the marriage. And I can't say that's the main reason, but that might be one of the issues.
Well, I think, aside from television and your own personal thoughts about that, I feel like from a girl standpoint, that's put on you at a very young age. If you're watching Disney movies or whatever, it's like someday you're going to meet Prince Charming and you're going to get married and live happily ever after.
Yeah,
they start off with the get married.
But Tiana got married in a swamp.
Well, okay. If you're just going to bring up the one movie. But anyway.
I get what you're saying.
But if you go past the past, like 80 years worth of cinema or even just fairy tales in general. Yeah.
Or reality TV shows that you're watching, TLC. And
the royal wedding was a big deal. Like people tuned into that and, people were all about the different dresses that she had and all that. But we were talking about dresses. The average cost of a wedding dress is $1,259. And then the average cost for a wedding, and these stats are from 2021, so they're current, was between $29,000 and $30,000.
Are you kidding?
And this isn't including the honeymoon. This is just paying for the wedding, photographer, food, venue, all of that stuff. And then there are roughly 2.6 million weddings performed in the U.S. each year, and each of them averaging about $29,000 to $30,000 per wedding.
That's crazy that apparently there's that kind of statistic that is as recent as this year, because at the time of recording, we're only halfway through 2021, and they've already got those kind of numbers.
Oh, I bet you it's going to be higher. I mean, because for those that had to put off their wedding
for COVID.
Yeah. I bet you it's going to be like,
it's going to be ridiculous.
If you didn't go out of business as a wedding planner last year, this year you're going to make up for. I bet you clean up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people put their weddings on hold.
Yeah.
Or they're doing like redoing stuff. Now, my friend isn't doing this, but I had a friend that got married in March last year.
Right at the height of
lockdown. But I do know some people that they went ahead, they got married, they either went to the courthouse or had a small ceremony or something, and they said,
that's what's up.
But they said, okay, but next year when the restrictions are lifted and people are vaccinated, we're going to have the wedding that we didn't have. So a lot of people are doing a redo of the wedding that they didn't have. So you're probably right, Alan. It's going to double because people are already planning for the wedding, and then people are doing a redo from COVID stuff last year.
See, that brings up a good point, because if you're wanting to be married to somebody, the wedding doesn't really matter, and people that just elope because I want to be married, they're probably in it for the long haul.
Based on the TV shows that I've watched. Well, from what I've seen, I don't have any stats to share right now, but I know the wedding, yes, it's about the couple, but a lot of it is about, the the families too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
especially like if you're a father of all daughters and you know you watch them grow up, you're going to imagine that time where she gets married and all of that, or vice versa. And so when someone elopes,
not
for you.
anytime soon.
You still got a bit.
What are you talking about?
But when a couple elopes, though, you do miss out on that family moment of the father walking the bride down the aisle and the first dance and stuff like that. So a lot of times, sometimes it's about the whole family dynamic, though. But, you know, it doesn't have to cost that much, because I was looking at stats for like the whole country. And so a lot of the states fell into the cost of actually $30,000 to $34,000, which is where Kansas falls into. So that's actually a little bit higher than the average.
$34,000 for a wedding?
For a wedding, yes. And then, but if you want a cheaper wedding, quote unquote, you could always move to Utah, because they are between $25,000 to $29,000, and they're the cheapest in the whole country. They're the only ones that were
just
in
this
the
is averages, right?
Yeah, averages of weddings paid for within the whole country. So most of the country where Kansas fell into as well was $30,000 to $34,000, but the cheapest one was just Utah, $25,000 to $29,000, and that's for the whole wedding, not including the honeymoon.
See, and I think, and this is just based on our family, because we're pretty good. Not only are we really good with money, but because we're a creative family, there's a lot of things that we wouldn't necessarily have that we can kind of do on our own. I mean, it would be extra work, but it would be a heck of a lot cheaper. And so if I had to pay like a lot of money for something, I would like a nice venue. I would probably even put the venue over getting a really hugely nice. I want to get a nice dress, but I would like to have a nice facility, maybe.
I would say your venue and your photographers. Do not skip out of the photographers.
That's true.
Yeah, you want good photos, because those are going to be there forever afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that brings up like the whole media aspect. Now, I probably out of everybody in the podcast, I have the least experience of weddings of any kind. I've never been in a wedding. I've sort of kind of worked a couple, but not in the traditional way. Now, me and Charity, we volunteer at a church that does a lot of weddings. So sometimes...
Are they doing a lot right now? Are weddings coming back? Because our church, we haven't done a wedding in forever.
At the time of this recording, there hasn't been a whole lot, but in the past, like in the very recent past, you know, me, Charity, and sometimes our sister Christy, we would be the camera operators. Now we weren't part of a videographer kind of thing, but at the church they do have cameras, and so if they want their wedding recorded, then they would have us do it, and they would have music and slideshows and whatever. So I've done it like that, but in terms of like actually being a part of it, like being in a wedding, I haven't been. And like I said, me and Charity have kind of planned one of our friends' weddings, but we didn't go full like wedding planner with that kind of stuff. So, and I was just going to ask you, like when you were planning your wedding, or if you did plan, I don't know.
Of course.
Well, so were you involved in that process?
Oh yeah, I was involved for 9 months. We were saving up for it, so I moved in to my future in-laws' home, and just to save money. So
you guys paid for your own wedding yourself?
We had to pay for our own wedding ourselves. Now I say that we did have a lot of help before and after, unexpectedly. But my mother-in-law, she made the dress.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Yeah, so she was a seamstress. She made the dress. We had a photographer that gave us a really steep family discount.
What about the venue? Where were you?
Now that's what we had to save up. So it was kind of like an all-inclusive kind of a thing. It was put on by a company called Tivoli 2 in Laguna, kind of like Laguna Beach in Laguna, California. And it was beautiful. I mean, we were walking distance to the beach. There was a waterfall.
Ooh.
So you were outside.
And it was outside.
An outdoor wedding.
Yeah. And my father did a huge solid by taking care of most of the travel expenses and hotel stays for the family. Yeah, I mean, it was really nice. I had my groomsmen, they came in, and I put them up in a Motel 6. And and the night before I got married, I thought I was going to go to jail. I was driving down this stretch of road. It's called Foothill, and it was dark, but you could go like 55 miles an hour, but there were no street lamps. And all of a sudden, something appeared in my headlight, and then I hit something.
Oh.
And I saw the back of somebody's legs as I hit them. And I
like
pulled
human
over.
legs?
Human legs. I thought I killed somebody. And cops come. It was a homeless guy that was just roaming around with his cart in the middle of a 55 mile an hour stretch of road.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, probably wasn't all there. And And I remember him sitting down. I'm like freaking out thinking that I'm going to jail. I remember him sitting down on the curb talking to a cop, and he was saying, I don't know, somebody hit me. And I was like, yeah, I did, jerk. What were you doing in the street?
Oh my God.
You're going to ruin my... And then the cop came over to me and I was like, am I going to jail? I'm supposed to get married tomorrow. And he was like, I think you'll be okay. He's probably got some warrants. I don't think he's going to make any charges. And I'm like, are you serious?
Wow.
What's going on? And after a half an hour, we were back in the car. And so here's the thing. That was our good car. My wife and I's good car.
Oh my God.
And now it's got to go to a collision center. So when we pull up for our honeymoon at Newport Beach, there's like some Lamborghinis, some Ferraris.
And then y'all's car.
And then we pull up in my work car, which is an old 95 manual shift Ford Escort with a little bit of rust on it. And I'm throwing my keys to the valet saying, don't scratch it, you know? But we were so embarrassed because there was McLarens and like Ferraris at this hotel, and then here comes this little putting.
At least you know your car would never get broken into because nobody wants it.
That's true.
So you have security.
It was a weird.
Oh my God.
It was a weird weekend.
You could totally make a movie out of that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, my
That's
brother-in-law
great.
at the time, he got me like a little stick. I don't know where he found it. He got it like a sticker of a shopping cart. He said, just put it on your car like a flying ace that would for every shopping cart that you hit or something. I didn't though. I didn't put it on.
Nice to know
it's bad juju.
Your family sets you up for success like that. Like,
oh yeah, man.
Here's a tally mark for the next one.
Oh
so
my gosh.
how old were you guys when you got married?
Oh, let's see. 2006. I was 26. I don't want to mention my wife's age. She's a little bit older.
Good call.
Good call. And
not that it matters.
yeah. And the thing was, so speaking of like how you can save costs, so she was at the LA Flower Market at that time, and it opens up like at night, of course, so that they can stock all the floral, like all the florists. They come at nights to bring them back to their shops in the morning. So I call her up and I'm like, I just want to let you know I'm okay. And she's like, what?
What happened?
Like, and I had to explain.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
What? You can't.
Yeah. and I'm sure she probably thought I was just like joking around with her, the night before the wedding.
Been like, hello, don't worry, I'm not in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't run over another human being.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing too. I mean, thank God he didn't die. I mean, obviously. But
So he wasn't scratched up or anything. He was just.
all I remember was seeing something in my headlights and the back of legs, two human
my
legs,
gosh.
and then bam. And apparently at the last second, he dove and I hit the cart. So I didn't hit him at all.
Oh, well,
Okay,
thank
well,
God.
that's good. That's good.
Oh, of course that's good. I mean, that's the best case scenario, but
See, I was waiting when you said you saw legs. I was waiting for the story to be like, turns out it was a mannequin, and then I hit it, and then these legs just start
Like the-
and then you have
like
the
the-
torso. It's all
like the homeless lady with the baby buggy and it gets hit, but it's just cans.
It's
I think
just
that was in
cans.
Speed.
Well, moving on to like a
Okay, yes.
sort of different topic. So I was looking up stuff about superstitions and like old traditions or whatever. And so from what I saw, it says older tradition, Wednesday was the best day to get married on, while Saturday was considered the worst, which is funny because Saturday's the weekend. Everybody's off work. That's
Sure.
usually when weddings happen.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But if you wanted to get married for wealth, you get married on a Monday. And if you wanted to get married to have good health in your marriage, then you get married on Tuesday. So that's an old European tradition. What day did you get married on? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh.
Pop quiz. When's your wedding anniversary?
Well, I know
Well,
the
he knows
day.
the anniversary, but the day,
Yeah.
the actual day.
I know the day. I don't know the day that we had it.
It was probably a Saturday. Probably
It was
a
the day
weekend.
after I hit somebody driving. That's
Do we
the
need
day
to
I had
check the police report?
it. Yeah.
Feels like a Friday.
Well, it's a little trivia for you guys.
Okay.
Do you know why the wedding band is worn on the left hand on your fourth finger?
No.
I used to, but it's been a while. What is it?
Well, it's because it was associated with the thought that the vein that leads to your heart is traveled through this hand. And so, your heart is associated with love. And so they wanted the ring to
That's
be
so
worn on this
sweet.
hand. Yeah, it's all right.
In Chile, their culture is to have it on the right hand, the same finger, but just on the right hand.
Yeah. Why is
Chilean
that?
culture. I have no idea, but that's what they do.
Maybe because it goes onto the other side of the heart.
I do like the older I get, I think it's quite close clever. The Amish tradition, when you get married, you grow a beard because you can't take it off.
Well, that does no good for the bride, though.
No. But for the men,
oh, okay, the men,
you grow a beard.
So if you have a beard, that means you're married. So if you're single, you have to stay clean shaven.
I think that's the case. I think that the beard is reserved for married men.
Interesting.
See,
Sounds right.
It's just because the only thing...
Only because none of us know anything about the Amish culture.
I was going to say, should I delve further into this, or should I not insult a whole group of people?
It's not even that. It's just the fact of, I mean, I guess beards are okay, but it's just so many guys don't necessarily keep it very manicured and very nice. So it's just like scruff. So then
I think the Amish are very handsome people.
Well,
how you gonna dig yourself out of this hole?
I mean, it's one of those things that a beard, just like anything else, needs to be maintained. And for those that don't maintain it, it's obvious. I mean, it does get, I'm pretty low maintenance with my beard, but I try to trim it up every other week or so.
It's true. You did kind of talk about that a little bit with your, not trusting people with
sideburns. You gotta have something, right?
I have no input on.
Okay, sorry. Weddings.
Hair.
We're back on weddings.
No, it's still wedding related. It was just again, based on last week's episode dealing with summer, it took topic turns that I wasn't expecting, but it's great.
Well, I was going to end, since we were talking about older traditions and stuff. So there's an old Finnish tradition that has brides going door to door collecting gifts in a pillowcase, and she must be accompanied by an older man. So this symbolizes like a long marriage. It's almost like trick or treat for the bride, and she has to go door to door and get gifts.
That's a good question. Okay, so I don't know, maybe I'm stingy or whatever, but when you first get married and you set up a registry and you're getting things, that makes sense. You don't have a whole lot usually, or the whole idea behind a wedding shower is because you don't have anything, you need help to get started, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so even if you're well into your 30s and 40s, your first marriage, I still think wedding gifts. What do you guys think about wedding 2 or 3? Does that still require a shower or a gift, or just a card and a better luck this time?
That's terrible.
Maybe this time.
I would say, for my experience, not getting married, but for people that I know, when you're older and you're getting married, you're not necessarily wanting anything, so you don't ask for it. Now, as a participant in the wedding, out of courtesy, you still get a gift, even if it's a gift card or flowers or something. You still get a gift to sort of wish them well, but
not like a $200 like set of pots and pans or something.
No, because they don't need it. And they're both coming from their own
established.
And they can just combine stuff. Now they will probably want to get stuff together, but I think that comes later down the road.
Yeah,
I went to a wedding before where they did a dollar dance or something. So we
had that.
Yeah,
where you pin $1.
Yeah, and so that just that's like rent money. You know, that's just giving them cash to like, okay, pay the rent, down payment on the house. Or sometimes if they're getting married the second or third time around, they may or may not have a honeymoon, so that money goes towards, hey, let's send you off someplace nice. But
well, in that case, I kind of wonder if that would work for people that it's their first marriage, but they get married later in life, and so they have established themselves. They might be in their 40s, 50s, or whatever, and they're getting married for the first time. They might still want that fairy tale wedding, but at the same time, they are established.
He's talking about gifts. Like, do you get the registry?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, would it still be the same, even though they're older, but this is their first time getting married, but they have been an adult long enough to establish themselves. They already have their stuff.
I think that's still the choice of the bride. If this is her first marriage, then I don't see why anybody, friend, family, whatever, would be like, well, you're too old to have that. That would be a terrible thing to say to somebody.
Like, well, you're 65 now, so no wedding.
Well, and I would say, as a female, I can't speak for all females, but as a female, I think she would want new stuff anyway if they're combining. Because if you've got a guy who's been a bachelor all his life and he eats off of paper plates and whatever,
probably.
Like if she's wanting some nice china, a nice dinner set or whatever, nice pots and pans, she should have that. Because they're not going to eat ramen anymore for every night for dinner.
No.
So she's gonna want to have like a home life. I would, and he would too.
Unless they got married on a Tuesday, and then they have a
Tuesday,
nice, long, healthy life.
So we said all this to say, do not get married on a Saturday. Wednesday is the best day to get married.
Wednesday's the best day in the middle of the week when everybody's at work.
And make sure it's real hot. outside under a tent.
Doing it like, what day is it going to be? 110, July 3rd.
I don't care.
Right.
I want to get married.
Well, on that note,
on that nice hot sunburn note.
yes, well, we've had a great time talking about weddings. If anyone this summer is getting married, let us offer our official congratulations to you all.
And let
from
us
Double Stuff
plan it, 'cause
Podcast.
you know it's going to be great.
That's right.
Run very far away. Anyway, if you want to catch up on more episodes, you can follow us on social media at Double Stuff Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And then you can follow us on Twitter at Double Stuff P, as in the letter P. And then if you want to binge all of our other episodes, you can check out our YouTube page, also at Double Stuff Podcast, and then our podcast website at doublestuffpod.com.